The security guards stepped forward, and 200 premier guests watched as River Phoenix and Johnny Depp refused to move from the red carpet. Beverly Hills, May 1992. The Regent Beverly Wilshire Hotel transforms into Hollywood's most exclusive gathering as studio executives celebrate the year's most anticipated film releases. Tonight's premiere represents more than entertainment. It's a demonstration of industry power, where invitation lists determine social hierarchy and red carpet positioning reflects career status. The hotel's grand facade glows under Klieg lights that slice through the warm evening air. Limousines form an endless parade along Wilshire Boulevard, discharging their precious cargo of stars, directors, and the constellation of executives who control Hollywood's financial machinery. This isn't just a movie premiere, it's a corporate showcase where studio heads display their most valuable assets. River Phoenix, 21 years old, steps onto the red carpet wearing a perfectly tailored midnight blue tuxedo that complements his natural coloring without overwhelming his youthful features. His blonde hair catches the camera lights, styled but maintaining the rebellious texture that refuses complete submission to formal grooming. Tonight, he represents artistic integrity in an industry increasingly driven by commercial calculations. Beside him, Johnny Depp emerges wearing classic black formal wear with subtle personal touches. Vintage cufflinks inherited from his grandfather, a bow tie loosened just enough to suggest comfort with elegance, without complete surrender to convention. At 28, Johnny carries himself with the quiet confidence of someone who has successfully navigated the transition from television actor to serious film performer. "Ready to face the corporate gauntlet?" Johnny asks with a slight smile as they begin their approach toward the hotel entrance. "As ready as anyone can be for having their artistic choices evaluated by people who measure success in opening weekend numbers," River replies, adjusting his cufflinks with nervous energy disguised as casual preparation. The red carpet stretches ahead like a crimson river flowing toward the hotel's golden doors. Unlike typical movie premieres focused on entertainment value, tonight's event celebrates films chosen for their commercial potential and award season viability. The guest list reads like a directory of Hollywood's most powerful decision-makers. Their first interviews proceed smoothly. River discusses his upcoming projects, the challenge of choosing roles that balance personal artistic goals with career advancement. Johnny handles questions about his collaboration with directors who prioritize creative vision over focus group testing. Both actors project the seriousness that distinguishes artists from mere entertainers in the minds of industry gatekeepers. "What draws you to challenging material that might not have obvious commercial appeal?" asks Margaret Chen from Variety, her cameraman capturing every nuance of their responses. "I think audiences are more intelligent than the industry gives them credit for," River responds thoughtfully. "They respond to authenticity, to stories that challenge them emotionally and intellectually. The trick is finding projects that honor that intelligence while still reaching wide audiences." As they progress toward the hotel entrance, the atmosphere grows more rarefied. This section of red carpet is reserved for A-list talent and major studio executives, the people whose decisions determine which projects get funding and which actors get career-defining opportunities. That's when they encounter Harold Brennan, Senior Vice President of Development at Paramount Pictures. 55 years old, silver-haired, wearing a tuxedo that costs more than most people's monthly salary, Brennan represents old Hollywood power, the kind of executive who controls multi-million-dollar budgets and can greenlight projects with a phone call. Brennan approaches with the confident stride of someone accustomed to deference, flanked by two assistants carrying clipboards and wireless phones. His presence immediately shifts the energy around them as other guests recognize industry royalty and adjust their behavior accordingly. "River Phoenix and Johnny Depp," Brennan says, his voice carrying the particular authority of someone whose opinions become company policy. The rising stars everyone's talking about. River and Johnny nod respectfully, understanding they're in the presence of someone whose approval could transform their careers or whose disapproval could limit their future opportunities. Brennan studies them with the calculating gaze of someone evaluating potential investments. You know, I've been watching your career trajectories with interest, both of you making the transition from television and teen roles into more ambitious territory. The pause before ambitious carries subtle condescension, as if their previous work requires qualification to be considered legitimate preparation for serious projects. We appreciate the recognition, River responds carefully, sensing undercurrents but maintaining diplomatic professionalism. Brennan steps closer, his assistants flanking him like corporate bodyguards. Here's the thing, though. Tonight's event is specifically designed for established talent and proven commodities. The studios hosting this premiere have invested significant resources, and the guest list reflects strategic marketing priorities. Johnny's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly, recognizing the direction this conversation is heading. Brennan continues with the tone of someone delivering difficult but necessary information. I'm afraid there's been some confusion about your inclusion tonight. This really isn't the appropriate venue for actors still building their industry credibility. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable at tomorrow's general industry screening. The words hang in the warm evening air like smog. Around them, other premiere guests slow their conversations, sensing drama developing but not yet understanding its nature. Mr. Brennan, River says carefully, we were invited through official channels. Our publicists coordinated with the premiere organizers weeks ago. Brennan shakes his head with practiced patience. I'm sure there was some miscommunication, but the reality is that tonight's event celebrates projects with major studio backing and established talent. This is wrong event, boys. You'd be doing everyone a favor by gracefully withdrawing. 7 seconds pass. The red carpet around them falls silent as nearby guests realize they're witnessing something more significant than casual conversation. Camera flashes continue, but now they're documenting potential controversy rather than routine glamour shots. Security personnel, recognizing their cue from Brennan's body language, begin moving closer to River and Johnny's position, not aggressively, but with the practiced efficiency of people prepared to handle situations that might embarrass powerful executives or disrupt carefully orchestrated events. Then River Phoenix takes a deliberate step forward, his movement controlled but unmistakably defiant. Johnny immediately matches him, both actors presenting a united front that speaks to months of friendship and mutual support through Hollywood's challenges. River's voice, when he speaks, carries quiet authority that cuts through the ambient noise of the premiere. Mr. Brennan, with all due respect, we're not confused about our place here tonight. We're here because our work has earned recognition from the same industry professionals who organized this event. Brennan's confident expression flickers, not expecting articulate resistance from actors he'd already categorized as easily managed young talent. River continues, his tone remaining respectful but gaining strength. You suggest that tonight celebrates established talent, but every established actor started as an emerging talent who had to prove themselves worthy of recognition. Dismissing us as wrong event assumes that artistic credibility requires prior approval from corporate executives. Johnny steps forward, supporting River's argument. The films being celebrated tonight succeeded because they took creative risks, because directors and actors pushed beyond safe commercial formulas. If you only celebrate established formulas, you eliminate the possibility of discovering the next generation of talent that will keep the industry vital. Brennan looks around nervously, realizing that their exchange is attracting attention from other premiere guests, including journalists who recognize potential story material when they encounter it. Margaret Chen breaks the moment, her professional instincts recognizing significant story development. That's actually a very insightful analysis of industry development and talent recognition. Other journalists nod, some looking embarrassed by Brennan's dismissive approach. The red carpet energy shifts from potential humiliation to intellectual engagement as people recognize that these young men possess the intelligence and articulation that makes them valuable beyond their on-screen appeal. Brennan, realizing his attempt at quiet dismissal has become public debate, tries to recover corporate dignity. Well, naturally, the studio supports emerging talent through appropriate channels and development programs. River and Johnny exchange a glance filled with quiet satisfaction. They've transformed potential dismissal into validation of their right to industry recognition. "We appreciate that support," River says diplomatically, "and we look forward to continued collaboration as our careers develop." The rest of their red carpet experience proceeds smoothly. Instead of being treated as interlopers, River and Johnny find themselves in substantive conversations with industry professionals who recognize their intelligence and professionalism. Several executives approach them privately, expressing interest in future projects. Inside the premiere, both actors are seated in the VIP section originally reserved for established stars. Their red carpet exchange has elevated their industry status from emerging talent to recognized professionals worthy of serious consideration. The confrontation generates significant entertainment industry coverage, not as scandal, but as example of how young talent can handle corporate pressure with dignity and intelligence. Variety publishes a feature about ageism in Hollywood power structures. The Hollywood Reporter runs an editorial about recognizing emerging talent. Weeks later, both actors receive offers for projects that represent significant career advancement. Casting directors reference their red carpet performance as evidence of professionalism and intelligence that makes them suitable for complex roles and high-profile productions. Harold Brennan quietly instructs his assistants to ensure that both River and Johnny receive invitations to all future Paramount events, not because he's changed his fundamental attitude, but because he recognizes that dismissing articulate, intelligent performers reflects poorly on corporate judgment. Years later, after River's death, Johnny remembers the premiere confrontation as a defining moment in both their careers, not because of the specific outcome, but because of how they supported each other when facing institutional pressure designed to diminish their professional standing. "River taught me something important that night," Johnny tells interviewers, "that you don't prove your worth by accepting other people's limitations on your potential. You prove it by doing work that speaks for itself and refusing to be intimidated by corporate authority that mistakes power for wisdom." The red carpet confrontation becomes part of both actors' professional legends, cited in film school courses about navigating industry politics while maintaining artistic integrity. Entertainment executives still reference the exchange when discussing how to evaluate emerging talent without dismissing them based on prejudicial assumptions. 7 seconds on a red carpet in 1992. One moment when two young actors refused to accept corporate dismissal disguised as industry guidance. One choice that demonstrated how professional dignity and intellectual confidence can transform potential humiliation into career validation. The night that proved real talent doesn't require permission from corporate executives to deserve recognition, that artistic credibility comes from the work itself rather than from institutional approval, that friendship provides strength to face whatever challenges emerge from refusing to accept artificial limitations on professional growth.